All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith, here alone on the third floor business concourse of the Cosmopolitan Resort in Las Vegas. I literally just almost ran into Jim Boylan rounding a corner. He was wearing a Vegas Summer League shirt, swim trunks, and flip-flops, and was huffing it. He was moving with purpose, the only way I believe Jim Boylan ever moves. This is my last day in Las Vegas. It has been a very long, I want to say trying time. It's been fun. I've been pushing out late into the night, trying not to waste any opportunities to either spot some NBA fun, see what's going on the strip. Also running into writers and hanging out with some buddies from the NBA podcast and NBA writing community. It has been a lot of fun. Watched a lot of basketball. I just checked out of my room. So my breakfast is I haven't really had any. Just the black coffee. I might actually hit up this place called Pepper Fire that I'd been hearing about. Sounds pretty good. Oh, the Pepper Mill, excuse me. Or Hash House A Go-Go. I think I might get one big very late breakfast as my way to exit Las Vegas. So Wednesday was kind of fun. If you follow us on Twitter, you saw that the Fast Break Breakfast Boban t-shirt finally, it kind of started making the rounds. We got it in the hands of some movers and shakers. It was pretty funny. Mark Cuban got his hands on it. It was on the NBA TV broadcast with Rick Carlisle. That happened. That came about because a friend of the show, good buddy Dave DeFore, I was having dinner with him and some other basketball folks. And Dave knew I had that Boban shirt. And Larry Kuhn of the Salary Cap Frequently Asked Questions. He was there, and Dave and Larry do the sports business classroom. And Dave was like, Keith has this Boban shirt that's like the NBA logo. I think Cuban would like it. And Larry was like, yes, we got to do it. So they gave it to Mark Cuban, and he did seem to like it. The sports business classroom, that they tweeted out the photo. It was kind of funny. They kind of represented that maybe I was attending sports business classroom and that I had personally made that shirt specifically for Mark Cuban. Not entirely true. Actually, not true at all. But it was fun for the publicity, getting that shirt out there, selling a few shirts by following up in the replies with the link to those shirts. It was also funny. So the day before, I guess on Tuesday, some guys, I was wearing the shirt, and a bunch of dudes started kind of waving at me, and it turns out they were these scouts from Serbia, and they were ecstatic about this shirt. This guy comes up to me. He's like, I know Bogdanovic, I know Jokic, I know Jaric, I know all this stuff. He's like, I like the Boban, take a photo. And I'm like, let me get you shirts. So I got him one of the shirts to have. And they took the photo. They were so happy. And I'm not sure. So then he tells me, and again, obviously English second language, I'm not sure I got all these details right. But I believe he told me Boban's wife is his ex-girlfriend, the scout I was talking to. And he said, I'm going to take this shirt to Serbia. I will wear it in the cafe and see Boban wife, and she will love it. So I think that was the plan. He's going to take it back to Serbia, wear it, and hopefully be seen by Boban's wife. But that was pretty fun. So the Serbian scouts were big fans of the shirt. And also, I gave one to Zach Lowe. I saw Zach Lowe in the concourse at the Thomas and Mack, and I went up to him, and I was like, Zach, can I give you this shirt? And he was like, you want to give me a shirt? And it was really bizarre, and I started cracking up because I've actually never seen Zach Lowe's face talk before. I'm aware he's been on TV. I don't think I've ever seen him on TV, so I just know the still image of Zach Lowe's face, and then I know his voice very well from podcasts. So it was strange to actually see him talking, but he's like, "You want to give a shirt to me?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I don't need to take your shirt." I said, "Sure. No, I want you to have it. It's a gift. It's a Boban shirt." He was like, "Oh, okay, thanks. Are you a big fan of Boban?" I was like, "Meh, not really." And then he said, you just make these shirts for fun?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a podcaster, just giving shirts out and such." He's like, "Well, all right, thank you very much." So that was cool. So he got it. So we kind of conquered, did the goals of getting the shirt out there. A lot of people want to know how to get the shirt. I know you can buy the design on TeePublic at our TeePublic store, but these shirts are actually much nicer because I printed them up myself. And they are on a very luxurious Bella Canvas tri-blend. And most importantly, they have the Fast Break Breakfast logo on the back, so you can know where the shirts are from. So if you want one of these like better, higher quality than TeePublic Boban NBA logo shirts, you can email me at fastbreakbreak@gmail.com or message me on Twitter at fastbreakbreak, and they are $20, and that includes shipping. I can only ship to the U.S., sorry, but they are $20. Just message me if you want to get one. If you are a Patreon member, they are $15, including shipping. So if you want some of these high-quality Bella Canvas Boban NBA logo shirts with Fast Break Breakfast written on the back, just message me again on Twitter or email me fastbreakbreak@gmail.com, and I will make sure we get you a shirt. As far as the basketball, I guess the things to note is the Kawhi Leonard deal ended up being shorter than we thought it was going to be. I think Chris Carter was reporting that there was no way he was going to sign for a short deal or like a 1+1. It turns out he signed a 2+1. So all of this whole Kawhi deal, we will be able to repeat in 2021. I kind of like it because the Memphis Grizzlies should have maybe a couple max slots open. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard's not coming, but he adds more to that 2021 free agency class. So as it trickles down, maybe the Grizzlies could get a slightly higher or better player they maybe couldn't get before. As far as the basketball at Summer League, it's been so bad. It's been so terrible. I just feel like I can't pay attention to it. I have ADD when I'm in the gym. I'm even betting on the games. I started off amazingly. I went 11-2. I since skidded to a 5-7 over the final 2 days. So the final tally I think is 16-9, which is good, but with the hot start and then the soft ending wasn't great. But anyway, even with betting on the games, I'm having trouble paying attention because just none of the top players are playing. The ones who aren't very good. The level of basketball is so bad. And I've always defended Summer League, that it is entertaining no matter what, because these guys are fighting for their dream jobs. They're playing as hard as they can to make NBA rosters. But still, I don't know if that extra pressure or stress is leading to like mental mistakes and just the lack of ability. You know, it's like Summer League players have the athleticism of NBA players, but they're missing the key components of skill, whatever it is, of their handle, their shot. And so it gets kind of messy. The games get messy. I will say the most fun team I think to watch, probably the two most fun teams, the Pelicans and the Celtics. Celtics are a lot of fun because everyone's cheering for Taco Fall, and he's played pretty decently. Grant Williams from Tennessee, who's picked right after Brandon Clark, has looked really good. I'm worried he might be like a Summer League only type guy because of his lack of physical gifts. But I mean, and that's obviously why he slid in the draft. But he definitely seems like a player. Maybe he will be able to carve a niche for himself in the NBA. The Pelicans, man, when Jackson Hayes started playing, Jackson Hayes had the best dunk I've ever seen with my own eyes. He needs some guy in the trachea He jumped off from well outside the charge circle and just threw it down. It was amazing. I'm sure if you've watched the basketball highlights, you've seen it. Absolutely great. In that same game, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was the 17th pick, played probably the best complete game of any player I saw at Summer League. I mean, just complete control of the basketball game, was scoring, blocking shots as like a tall point guard. Just looked very incredible, very exciting. The Pelicans have put together just an unbelievable league pass team with Zion Williamson. Should be entertaining. Drew Holiday's a great player. They're adding Lonzo Ball. They're adding Brandon Ingram. You got Derek Favors, you got JJ Redick, and even another guy playing here, Kenrich Williams, who I just adored watching play later in the regular season last year. They're going to be a lot of fun. I'm keeping my eye on the Pelicans, that Pelicans Grizzlies, the Riverboat Captain's Belt for Pride and Glory and Dominion of Mississippi. The rivalry of Pelicans Grizzlies I've been trying to stoke for a while. Maybe it will finally take off in the coming season with these two young, exciting cores. Both Jackson Hayes and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, they weren't nearly as good in their second games. They were fine. Not the overwhelming all-stars they seemed to be in their very first games. And thinking about that trade, how the Pelicans and David Griffin are just killing this offseason, that they traded that number 4 overall pick and they got Jackson Hayes. They traded down. They got Jackson Hayes. They got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They got Silva. I can't remember his name. Maybe Marcus Lozita Silva. They got all three of those guys, and they got rid of Solomon Hill's contract. Just, it seems like an unbelievable return. The 4th pick that the Hawks got for all that, DeAndre Hunter, has not looked very good. I mean, he seems like the kind of guy who might actually do better in actual NBA games because he's like a glue guy, a defender. He hasn't popped at all in Summer League. And when you think about the entirety of Hawks moves for the last two seasons, it's not awesome. I mean, would you rather have Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, and Chandler Parsons, or Luka Doncic, Jackson Hayes, Alexander Walker, and Silva? It seems like a landslide that the Hawks lost kind of all those trades. Even we know Trae Young looked awesome, and the Hawks, man, they might be terrible, just like really terrible. I was already saying like the excitement for the Hawks was probably going to be a little over ambitious coming into next season, and like when the win totals come out. But their offseason, they've added nothing. Just Chandler Parsons Chandler Parsons is now hanging out with Kyle Herter. That doesn't seem great. It seems like you want Kyle to stay far away from Chandler. You don't want to mess him with that guy. So yeah, I'm pretty down on the Hawks, and the Pelicans very high on. They seem like they're going to be really good. Another guy, I guess, a couple of the guys who are really crushing Summer League. Lonnie Walker for the Spurs. The Spurs' hopes for next season might lay heavily on him. If he can be like this big scoring 2-guard or like a 3, give them some offense, give them some 3-point shooting, that would be huge to pair with DeMar DeRozan. And if DeJounte Murray comes back, so that might be, I feel like Lonnie Walker could be the key to the Spurs scratching to make the 8 seed or being a more dominant team in the West and perhaps threatening some of the top tier teams. I guess another guy, a deep cut. I feel like that's the fun part of Summer League is the deep cuts. I would say this guy, Kendrick Nuns, who's a guard for the Heat, has really been killing it. He is like a small, super athletic guard who has really just like jumped off the court or just popped in every game so far. And I don't know what his situation is. It seems like a kind of guy who some team could definitely pick up and use. He seems like a very good prospect. And it might just be in very small sample size. But of all the guys that I've seen, Kendrick Nunn was one guy who I had no idea who he was, but has been really, really good in the games I saw. I guess of the lottery picks or the first-round picks who have played, it's just... RJ Barrett, we kind of trashed on him in our episode earlier in the week. He was fine in game 3. It is not great, though, that the Knicks, they're playing Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, RJ Barrett, and Kadeem Allen 30 minutes a night or 30 minutes a game. Out of these games are only 40 minutes, and they're still getting hammered. So that's not, I don't know what that means. If all those guys are slightly overrated, if just the infrastructure of the coaching isn't up to snuff or up to what it should be. I think Kevin Knox might be really uniquely terrible at basketball. RG Barrett, the book is not written on him. He doesn't look very good, but his third game was kind of okay. Mitchell Robinson has been putting up some amazing stats, and we all know he had that unreal block rate last year, but I think he might be the most overrated player in the NBA, and that's probably just because he's a Knick and gets a lot of attention. But I don't know. He's putting up good stats in Summer League still, but he just seems like he makes so many dumb plays, and his teams keep losing. And I don't know if his block shots are actually leading to the team having good defense. I will say their second-round pick, Brazdeikis, he's been fun. He had 30 points in his first game. If his shot is for real, it seems like he could probably be a player. He's like a funky slasher, and he looks like a chunkier Kyle Singler, but he's pretty good. The other lottery picks, Colby White, hasn't necessarily impressed that much. The Bulls Summer League team is pretty bad, and their team defense is terrible, and he's not hitting any shots, so I don't know. I'm not talented enough as a talent evaluator to judge him in that context. Rui Hachimura for the Wizards, it just seems like an antiquated player. He is better than the dudes who he's posting up, but I'm not seeing a lot there. Jordan Poole for the Warriors seems kind of fun. He was the late first-round pick for them. He seems pretty cool. Maybe he'll give them some offense that they need. So, I mean, looking at this first-round draft, it's just there's not a ton to report back on. Tyler Herro. I guess you got to say Tyler Herro for the Heat. Despite that negative wingspan, has been hitting a lot of shots and has looked like a very solid NBA player. Just, I guess, scraping the bottom of the barrel for, I guess, Bruce Brown Jr. is another kind of random guy. The Pistons Summer League team is very good, and he's been running that team and looks like he could be a player. So I don't have as much opinion on these Summer League players again because I'm maybe I've watched the least I've ever watched before while I'm here, and just I'm not seeing anyone who looks like they're any good. Talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, who strangely have gotten, now in the last 2 summers, they've gotten young, popular players from other teams on reasonable contracts in restricted free agency. I don't know how they are accomplishing it. It doesn't really make sense to me that the Timberwolves didn't match. I mean, I know why the Timberwolves didn't match. They're close to the luxury tax, and they don't want to commit space for next year. They're trying to clear up cap space for next year to sign a free agent. But as we've talked about many times, there aren't really that many good free agents available next year, and Minnesota certainly doesn't have the track record of getting them. And Tyus Jones is a super young player. He's only 23, so he joins the Grizzlies' young core. I was asking on Twitter, how would you rank the Grizzlies' young assets? You got Tyus Jones at 23, who's now under contract for 3 years. Grayson Allen, I think, is 23 as well. Brandon Clark, rookie, 22. DeAnthony Melton is 21. Josh Jackson is 22. Dylan Brooks is 23. And then John Conchar and Yuta Watanabe. Bruno Caboclo, all still youngish guys. And they're all pretty interesting. I know the draft nerd Twitter, like the Stepien guys, are crazy about Conchar, who we talked about again with Roundball Rock on Monday, I think, or Tuesday, I can't remember. But again, I don't know how much a guy like Conchar, who literally can't score at all, matters to your core going forward. But I feel like Brandon Clark and Tyus Jones are huge assets at to be with this team. DeAnthony Melton being 21, who can be a 3-and-D guy and maybe be a backup point guard, I think is huge. I am so low on Josh Jackson. A lot of people think his pedigree means that he could be the starting 3 and is a big asset, but his team option for next year, because he's on that rookie scale contract and he was the number 4 overall pick, I think it's going to like $9 million. So even if he plays pretty well, it doesn't seem like maybe you would pay him to come back, $9 million. So it's kind of the weird situation. I have difficulty envisioning him being so good that he's worth more than $9 million, and then you would absolutely have a no questions asked decision as far as his team option for next year. Grayson Allen, he's like a summer league stud. He understands the trick of summer league is to drive and get to the line because the referees call almost everything. I don't know if he's an actual NBA type player, but I mean, he did in a meaningless game put up 40 points last year for the Jazz, so that's not nothing. Being able to score 40 points no matter the NBA game shows you have some offensive skill and potential. And so we'll see. The Grizzlies are going to need all the shooting they can get. So if his shot gets a little more consistent, maybe he can be a piece for the Grizzlies. But he's probably lower on my list. And Dylan Brooks, who's had as far as the tabloids are concerned, a rough off season. Dylan Brooks, I'm like really kind of low on, and I know most Grizzlies people are penciling him in to be a starting 2 guard. He's not really a 2. He's not good at defense. He's not a great shooter, and he was hurt and missed almost all of last season. So I don't know. I'm low on him. If you asked me who I would protect in a trade, or if it was like a expansion draft and I can only protect like 5 of those list of youngest players, I don't know if I'd protect him. I guess I might, but I definitely value Jones and Brandon Clark and the DeAnthony Melton above him. So I guess maybe he would be right at 5th. And he's extremely important to the future of the Grizzlies. If he turns out to be okay, or even a pretty good and like a definite rotation piece, a top 7 guy in your rotation, then they can keep him on a reasonable contract next year in restricted free agency. So he is important to the team. Finally, I guess we can talk about the Thunder, who are certainly trading Russell Westbrook. It seems like with the Heat being the main suitor, it's very difficult for the trade to happen because the Thunder have to get under the luxury tax. I mean, they need to. If they're gonna unload all these players, they absolutely have to get under the luxury tax, so they're not paying the repeater tax. And so they want to shed salary in a trade. The Miami Heat, who might get him, can't increase their salary at all because they're right up at the hard cap at the apron because of their sign and trade with Jimmy Butler. So there has to be a third team involved to maybe pick up Kelly Olynyk or someone. Kelly Olynyk, who is at Summer League, sitting with the Heat players. That is the funny part about Summer League, is all these guys are in trade talks. Like the Pistons, who are a dark horse suitor for Russell Westbrook. Their entire matching salary for Westbrook trade package was at their game watching. Like Luke Kennard and Reggie Jackson and Tony Snell were all there. So these guys are sitting with their NBA teams or with their Summer League teams, knowing they are in these trade talks, knowing they could easily be moved out. So it looks like the Heat are going to try to get Westbrook and go all in for the next couple years, but there's going to probably need to be a third team involved in that trade. I think the Pistons is kind of a fun one because, you're already paying Blake Griffin a ton. You're already paying Andre Drummond a ton. Like, would you spend all your money on just like a big 3 that was slightly past their primes and were slightly antiquated for the style of NBA basketball we're going for, just to be a 5 seed or a 4 seed? And then, the bill comes due in a couple years and you might just be atrocious. I don't know. Those are tough questions. A team I would like to see do it is the Orlando Magic. Why not? Why not get Russell Westbrook on the Magic, a team that's been super boring for years? I know they made the playoffs last year, but Russell Westbrook with all those weird, long, switchy, rangy, non-shooting bigs, the Jonathan Isaac and then Aaron Gordon, and then you have Vucevic on the paint, who can hit. Westbrook can find him for those 20-foot jumpers. I would watch that. It would, again, most people think Westbrook is going to age horribly, and so it would be a tough contract to get rid of or to deal with him taking up that much of your team's salary cap in a couple years. But why not Orlando Magic? I always kind of dump on you guys for being boring and me not liking your franchise. Just do it. Just do it for fun. Well, I guess that is enough to wrap up. I have had to check out of my hotel room. I am going to, wander Vegas for a little bit, maybe place a future bet. I'm looking at this Brandon Clark at 300-1 to win Rookie of the Year. 300-1? That seems like good odds. Also, Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant are both 1,000-1 to win NBA MVP, and I don't know about you, but I have difficulty turning down 1,000-1 bets 1,000 to 1. Anyway, so I'll probably look into doing that before I get out of town. Thanks for listening, guys. If you do want, again, one of those custom-made Boban shirts or a John Wick shirt, I have some custom-made John Wick shirts also on the same Tribe Blend Bella canvas T-shirts with our name on the back. You can get those by emailing me at fastbreakbreak@gmail or messaging me on Twitter. They are $20. That's shipping included, U.S. only, or they are $15 shipping included if you are a Patreon supporter. If you want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. That is the best way to support our show, to keep this going, to defray the massive costs of coming to Las Vegas. But no, it's a lot of fun. It's like my vacation for the year. And also, I got to say, the gambling's gone good. Doing the Summer League well, won some money on craps. I went to the Roundball Rock listener meetup, and one of their listeners had like a 50-minute roll at the craps table, won me a couple $100. And then I was playing, I never played slot machines before because I don't get them, but I sat down at a Michael Jackson slot machine in Old Vegas last night and won $200 in about 10 minutes and immediately walked away. So that part's been going pretty good. But anyway, if you want to support the show and get a discount on your Boban or John Wick shirt, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right, you can follow me on Twitter at FastBreakBreak. Like us on Facebook and on Instagram. All right, you guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
Yeah, never apologize for being G&G. Fast break, man. You understand?
SeatGeek saves you time and saves you money. Two of the more important commodities in our lives these days. They aggregate ticket selling sites together, so you don't have to go to 8 sites and then, I'm going to look at the 9th one now because I'm not quite sure. I was totally that way, of course. And then they also rank every ticket based on value. So you look at the section you want to sit in, find that big green dot, the darker green, the better. You'll start to experience just endorphins when you see that green dot and know that you're getting an awesome deal on the ticket. I used SeatGeek to go to a Bucks Wizards game, got awesome seats there for my fiance and me. So the way to get started with them, download the SeatGeek app and enter that familiar promo code
FastBreak.
by using that code to get $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. That's promo code
FastBreak.
for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Let them know that you came from us.
FastBreak. John is an asshole. FastBreak.